The Kansas City Chiefs are advancing to yet another AFC Championship game after taking down the Houston Texans at Arrowhead Stadium by the final score of 23-14 in the AFC Divisional round. You guys are listening to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy. I'm a local Kansas City-based content creator, and if you guys enjoy the content that I put out on a daily basis, hit that like button and subscribe for more daily Chiefs coverage. In this video, I'm going to break down and recap the Chiefs' impressive win in the divisional round. They just beat the Texans at Arrowhead Stadium again by the final score of 23-14. The second time in less than a month that the Chiefs have beat the Texans at Arrowhead Stadium. This time it was to advance to their 7th consecutive AFC Championship game. So a lot of Chiefs fans are probably coming out of this game feeling like the Chiefs didn't play their best football, but they still found a way to get it done. And a win is a win in the NFL, and a win is absolutely a win in the playoffs, where the Chiefs just have to survive and advance. But I actually am coming out of this game with a lot more optimism than most, because I think the Chiefs were the better team, and it showed in all three phases. Offense, defense, special teams, it didn't matter. The Chiefs were better. The Chiefs' offense, even though they struggled for the majority of this game, they were better than the Texans' offense that only put up 12 points before that safety towards the end of the fourth quarter. The Chiefs' defense was significantly better than that Texans' defense that coming into this game, all we heard was how good this Texans' defense was. George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, and the Chiefs' pass rush sacked C.J. Stroud 8 times. 8 times in the divisional round, and George Karlaftis had 3 of those sacks. George Karlaftis had a legacy game against the Texans today. It was just fantastic, and the Chiefs' special teams unit was better than the Texans. The Texans kicker Fairbairn, he missed a 55-yard field goal, he missed an extra point, and he also had a field goal blocked by Leo Chenal. Another field goal blocked by Leo Chenal in the playoffs. And so I feel like the Chiefs just dominated this game in all facets. Now, the final score might not show that. The 23-14 victory might not look like the Chiefs dominated this game. And by the final score, they didn't. But if you just look at the individual parts of the game, the Chiefs were better in all three phases. And one guy that I want to talk about, because everybody seemingly wrote him off come playoff time, Travis Kelce. Playoff Travis Kelce is here again, ladies and gentlemen. In this game, after basically having a down season, everybody left him for dead. Travis Kelce had 7 receptions for 117 receiving yards, and he scored a touchdown. He caught that touchdown pass where Patrick Mahomes was falling over and somehow completed it, and those two had a special connection all day. I mean, Chiefs Kingdom, your Kansas City Chiefs are going to another AFC Championship game. We are watching the best Chiefs team of our lifetime, and you cannot take that for granted. Now, I do want to give the Texans a lot of respect. They were able to run the ball a lot better against this defense than I actually thought. Joe Mixon had himself a day, and I was not expecting that because he was on the injury report this week with an ankle injury. He had 18 carries for 88 yards, and he had their only touchdown in this game. So Joe Mixon, phenomenal in this game. Unfortunately for him, it didn't end up resulting in a win for this Texans team. Because again, C.J. Stroud was just completely bamboozled right from the very beginning. The Chiefs' defensive line sacked him 8 times. And a big reason they were able to do that is because Steve Spagnuolo, man. Steve Spagnuolo called up a perfect game plan. He blitzed at the perfect time. He sent the right amount of pressure. He had guys fall back. And the Chiefs' defense had a great game plan for going up against this Texans offense that could have beaten them. C.J. Stroud is good enough that if the Chiefs had an off day, especially with how this offense performed, they could have easily lost. This could have been a 23-14 loss to the Houston Texans. But, fortunately for us, it didn't end up resulting in that. So again, C.J. Stroud was 19 of 28 for 245 yards. He did not throw a touchdown or an interception, but I do think that those stats are kind of lopsided because the Chiefs sacked him 8 times, and outside of that drive in the third quarter where the Texans had the ball damn near 15 minutes from, halftime to, or I guess before the half, and then after halftime they received the ball, they went on a long drive. And so I do think that, some of these stats are inflated, but he did play all right. He didn't play horribly. It just wasn't going to be enough when the Chiefs did not turn the ball over to beat this Chiefs team. It just wasn't going to cut it. So, Chiefs Kingdom, how are you guys feeling after this, victory at home in the divisional round? The Chiefs are going to another AFC Championship game. I feel like it's hard to complain in this moment. But there is going to be a large percentage of Chiefs fans that are probably terrified of next week's matchup against either Baltimore or Buffalo. I'm going to be very interested to see who wins that game. But again, getting back to the Texans' offensive numbers, Nico Collins had an all-right performance. He had 5 catches for 81 yards. Dalton Schultz had 4 catches for 63. Xavier Hutchinson had 4 for 52. But nobody really killed you. Trent McDuffie did a fantastic job on Nico Collins in this game. There was really never a point that I thought the Texans were going to, come from behind. I didn't think that their offense had enough juice. And since the Chiefs did not turn the ball over, it was going to be very difficult for that offense to go on a sustained drive and turn that into points consistently, especially when the Chiefs defense is getting to CJ Stroud on damn near every snap. 8 sacks is ridiculous. And like I said, that's going to be my, stat of the game. The Chiefs had 8 sacks. And if you sack an opposing quarterback that many times, you're never going to lose that football game. And that's just evident in the final score. And really the turning point in this game was very early on in the fourth quarter. The Texans were in a 4th and 10 situation, and instead of punting, they elected to go for it, and the Chiefs ended up getting to CJ Stroud, sacking him on a blitz. I believe that was Chamari Connor, but you just saw the Texans completely just fall apart. If the Texans punted in that situation, they could have easily, gotten the ball back, had good field position, and went down to potentially score. But you also saw in this game, the Texans outside of the first half had no trust in Kaimi Fairbairn to make a kick. He missed that field goal at the end of the first half. He missed that 55-yarder. He missed an extra point, and he also had a kick blocked. And so he had a just absolute brutal day from the kicking position. And I think that that's going to haunt him going into the offseason. But the Chiefs were just better in all of the phases that mattered. Even the returning game, you guys saw how Nico Remigio started this game with that great return. He did fumble the football, but we didn't lose that fumble. And so the Chiefs just were better in all of the key areas where it mattered. Now, you're not going to be as fortunate going up against a Buffalo or a Baltimore. You have got to play better. That's kind of an area where I think the Chiefs understand that, and they're not going to, play down to their competition, especially in the AFC Championship game. But another guy that I want to give a lot of credit, we talk about Travis Kelce, who, of course, had that crazy game going for 7 catches and a $117 and 1 touchdown. But a guy that might be the unsung hero of this game was Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt had 8 carries for 44 yards, and he scored a rushing touchdown, which we all expected him to get into the end zone. But Kareem Hunt having this, revitalized career in Kansas City, this is his redemption arc. He got cut back in 2018. He was sad when the Chiefs went on to win multiple Super Bowls without him on this roster. And this is his opportunity to change history, to rewrite his story, to win a Super Bowl with the team that drafted him. And he is running mad. He is running, efficiently. And I think he is going to be a force to be reckoned with as we go on further in the playoffs. You saw in this game, whether it was 4th and 1, whether it was, 2nd and long, he was going to break off a good run. He just kept his legs moving. He got this team some very big yards down the stretch, and I don't think that you could have won this game without Kareem Hunt. So I'm super impressed with him and Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt on the offense. Travis Kelce, or I guess not Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes wasn't great. 16 passes that he completed, 16 of 25 for a $177, and he did throw one touchdown pass. That was, of course, to Travis Kelce. The Mahomes and Kelce connection was there all day, but outside of that, there were a couple mistakes. You saw that Hollywood Brown deep ball that somehow wasn't a catch. I guess Hollywood Brown wasn't able to maintain possession of the football when he hit the ground. I'm not really sure, but you saw that didn't work. And there was a couple other examples of just players that, kind of didn't flourish in their opportunities, but it didn't matter because Travis Kelce had an all-time great Travis Kelce postseason performance. When you get that from the future Hall of Famer, you can kind of just, you chalk it up to, well, he's just dominant and they can't stop it. Like, even when the Texans defense knew that Travis Kelce was going to get the football, they couldn't stop it. They could not stop 87 from doing whatever the hell he wanted to do today. And I think that's a very good sign going forward that, listen, Travis Kelce is potentially in his last postseason. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there's a lot of buzz and a lot of hype and a lot of rumors going around that he could retire if the Chiefs end up three-peating. And so this could potentially be his final postseason run, and you're going to see him make the absolute most of that. The Chiefs are going to another AFC Championship game. I mean, we have just gotten so accustomed to this dominance, in the AFC. 7 consecutive AFC Championship games is only one away from the New England Patriots, who went there 8 times. Tom Brady went to 8 consecutive. And man, who's betting against Patrick Mahomes to get there next season? But no, it should be a great AFC Championship game with whoever comes out of that Buffalo-Baltimore game. But getting back into this Texans game, I feel like we have so many encouraging signs and a lot of stuff the Chiefs need to work on. Their run defense wasn't as good as I would have hoped. There were a couple examples that, Nico Collins did get his against Trent McDuffie, and, Dalton Schultz was wide open at times over the middle. That's the kind of stuff that against a Buffalo, if Josh Allen is able to find his receivers, he's going to make you pay. And going on those drives that take 15 minutes off the clock, or I guess, 10 minutes off the clock, the Texans had the ball nearly the entire third quarter. That's something that really cannot happen going forward because the Chiefs need to, get back and win the time of possession. And so I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis this week in practice, that they need to do a better job of, holding onto the football on offense, because even in the second half when they did get the football, a couple of their drives fizzled out. And if they could have just gotten a first down, like on that 4th and 10 that the Texans weren't able to complete, the Chiefs went 3 and out after that. And if they would have gotten like 10 yards, they could have kicked a field goal and made this game out of reach very early on in the fourth quarter. But instead, of course, it comes down to the last 3 to 5 minutes of the game. Harrison Butker drilled that field goal to make it a 2-possession game. And listen, once this game was a 2-possession game, there was really never a doubt in my mind. But, crazy stuff has happened before. It's the playoffs. You never know what could happen. But with this Chiefs team playing the way that they were not going to lose this game once they went up by 2 scores. It just was not going to happen. But I'm super excited because I feel like this Chiefs team, even though they didn't play their best football, they showed today on the field that they were the better football team in all 3 phases. Offense, defense, special teams. I mean, how rare is it that Leo Chenal is blocked 2 field goals in a season, but he's also blocked a field goal in back-to-back postseasons. He had that block last year against Bass, also in the divisional round. So he is just an absolute monster on special teams, and defensively, 8 sacks. George Karlaftis having 3 of those. Chris Jones got in on the action. Felix, Charles Omenihu, Justin Reed, Shamari Connor. The entire Chiefs defense feasted today. And that's a very good sign going forward that they're going to be able to replicate that performance against a Buffalo, against a Baltimore. And offensively, I understand that a lot of Chiefs fans are a bit concerned that they only put up 23 points against this Texans defense. Listen, the Texans defense is good. You saw guys like Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, they sacked Patrick Mahomes 3 times. They got pressure up front. They were able to, play good defense on the back end. A lot of people are like, where was DeAndre Hopkins? Where was Hollywood Brown? Where was, Xavier Worthy? Xavier Worthy didn't have a bad game by any means, but I feel like we need to really give credit to that Texans defense because that's not going to happen against either a Buffalo or a Baltimore. This was the best defense the Chiefs are going to play during this playoff run. The Texans are it. And outside of them, there's really not a defense that is comparable. And that is a good thing for this Chiefs team, which you're going to see guys like Travis Kelce. And I really do expect DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown to find some role in the offense as we continue to go on this playoff run. Expect Kareem Hunt to continue being a dominant, bruising running back who's going to get the first down, who's going to keep the chains moving for this offense, and keep getting in the end zone. I think he's got a touchdown in every playoff game that he's played. He's just a monster in the red zone, and he is a true weapon that the Chiefs have not had before. The Chiefs are going to the AFC Championship game, the 7th consecutive AFC Championship game. That's all I have for this recap. We are going to talk about this divisional round game for about the next 2 or 3 days, and then we are going to jump right in to the AFC Championship game preview. The Chiefs are going to host either the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday. I'll be lucky enough to be at this game in attendance like I was with this one. This game was fantastic. I mean, I've almost lost my voice from how much I was screaming. I'm exhausted. I've been working since 9 a.m. this morning in that freezing temperature. I got a video out earlier today for you guys, so I'm going to wrap this up. The Chiefs were able to take care of business at Arrowhead Stadium on a freezing cold day, and they beat the Houston Texans by the final score of 23-14, and with this win, the Chiefs advanced to their 7th consecutive AFC Championship game. If you guys enjoyed this content, hit the like button on this video and subscribe for more daily Chiefs coverage. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and as always, go Chiefs.